Welcome to Leaders in Action. I'm Robin Trimingham, and my guests today are Olderhood CEO Bill Story and Martin Gilbert, who is the chairman of Aberdeen Standard Investments. And today we're chatting about the interrelationship between the global economy and the ongoing global health crisis. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hi.
Well, it's good to chat with you today. There's an argument to be made that although the global economy and health are two pillars of what supports the advancement of human civilization, people have had a tendency to try and think about them in isolation. What do you guys think? Can we continue to do that? How much are they really interrelated, and what are we learning as this situation around the world evolves?
I think we've realized how interrelated they are recently with COVID. Up until now, we probably hadn't realized just how important health was. Although, I mean, some people have been predicting this particular pandemic for many years, but it's certainly come back to affect the economy in a massive way.
Yeah, I think it affects the economy. I mean, we've got the micro and the macro side of economies, and I think they're now heavily interrelated. As you say, like we've perhaps never seen before. And I mean, I think in times past we've had situations where you would take like a world war, where the economy was impacted by hostilities, etc. But I think this aspect of things is, as you say, it's a different phenomenon. We've just never seen, anything, sort of like this. Do you feel though that the economies are built or presently are built around borrowing, so that they're having to borrow money in order to continue to stimulate the individual country's economy?
Yeah, I think so. Probably for the last 10 years, we've been in that position since the financial crisis. So this has just exacerbated it, in my opinion. The thing that's saving the world really to a large extent are low interest rates. So it is affordable at the moment. Because of the huge liquidity in the world looking for somewhere to put their money, they are prepared to lend governments money at the moment. So so far so good in that respect. But there will come a day when people want repaid. So let's hope that's not too soon.
So what do you think is how do some of these countries, and I think different countries have got different issues, but how do some of these countries get through this? It's all very well to say we can borrow, but you've got to pay the piper at some particular point in time. How do you think realistically, how are these economies going to get back on their feet?
Well, I think we're definitely seeing them growing at or coming out of this at different rates. So probably China's probably doing well in terms of the big countries. And we especially see that in the iron ore price. So you would have expected the iron ore price to be weak at the moment. But with China really trying to get their economy going by spending, it's definitely helped them borrowing and spending on infrastructure.
So, I mean, the recovery, as we would call it, at the macro level, the government level is obviously kind of, one thing. At the micro level, at the individual company level, what are you seeing, I suppose in the large corporates? I mean, how are they getting back on their feet?
I think, again, they were probably fairly strong before the pandemic. Certainly the level of borrowing by companies, big companies, has been massive. So they've all taken advantage of these sort of 200-year low interest rates, and also the ability to raise debt. And all of them have pulled down their credit lines, withdrawn cash. So the bank's balance sheets are pretty big at the moment because companies are drawing down cash and just keeping cash to make sure they can get through this pandemic.
But how does that affect more of the consumer type of company? I'm thinking particularly about aviation, about airlines, about hotels, transportation, etc. And they're going to have to struggle because any company needs revenue, but if the revenue isn't there, what do? Hold their breath until something happens?
Well, I think airlines are particularly badly hit. Obviously, hospitality probably a bit less, except city centres, sandwich bars, because none of the offices are open yet. So we need to get people back to work. I think just to, even if it's in a more limited way than it was before, to really get people spending money again, which is, of course, what the government are trying to do. The airline industry is very, very badly hit. Even the IAGs of this world, which were sitting on massive cash piles, are going through it at a terrific rate. And while we see a lot of countries barring any sort of foreign travel altogether, to all intents and purposes, it's going to be really difficult for them during this crisis. So there's the haves and have-nots, isn't there? Some are going to do really well. Food, the supermarket companies are all doing well. The hospitality airlines are not doing well.
You know, you were talking about restarting the global economy and the challenges of doing that. I'm just going to throw a question out there. I was reading that some people are recommending that we go to a 4-day work week. Do you see that as a viable solution?
I personally don't, but I may be wrong. And I think it's really going to require a vaccine to allow allow people to get confidence again. Because whatever the intention was, the governments have certainly scared the population. So not many of them are going to get on an airplane and travel for a holiday to the US, for instance, at the moment. So it's going to require a vaccine before we get any sort of global recovery, which could be some time away.
And I think obviously that goes back to the point we made at the beginning about the intertwining of health and economy, because I mean that leads to things like, can you get the kids back to school again? And, you know, there's health issues associated with that at the children level and obviously teachers. But then from the other side, if working from home is going to be severely impacted, that if people have been used to that over the last several months, then, you know, if the kids are going to be going back to school, then what do they do? So, you know, and then, of course, you've got things like layoffs. Do you see a lot of layoffs? I mean, there's a lot of layoffs coming.
Yeah, I think all these sort of statistics show that children are not badly affected per se, but they could pass it on to their parents or the teachers who may be more badly affected. But definitely with the, in the UK, especially with the ending of the furlough scheme, there are going to be massive layoffs in the again, and mainly in the hospitality business. I mean, businesses like ours, we haven't furloughed anyone. So financial services has largely been okay. It's really been that hospitality, the service end of the economy.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for your time today, Martin. You've been watching Leaders in Action. Join us again soon.